My right leg drives out the vessel, and the right leg reverses it back. My jab here, that's one. Why is my power in the back and my power not in the front? So the question is, what's next? Well, what follows after the jab? Once I've mastered it, if you master the jab, what do I do next? And the answer is this: learning the jab cross combination. Why? Well, the jab cross combination is the most fundamental, most powerful punch combination you're going to learn in boxing, Muay Thai, and any combat sport. If we think about the jab cross from a strategic standpoint, we'll break down both the jab and the cross and what they're intended to do together. If I'm using my jab, and we talked about the jab and the different reasons why we use the jab. What's one? We talked about using it to find my range, find your range, right? Throw the jab, trying to look for your range. We use it to disrupt our opponent. We use it to change aims. And then the other one is we use it to set up our punches. Okay, so from a strategic standpoint, if I'm using my jab to set up my punch, specifically now my cross, if I'm using my jab to set up my cross, that intent right there, my jab setting the stage for what? My cross, my power side. Let's talk about strategically again, why the cross is in the rear. Why is my power in the back and my power not in the front? Okay, well strategically, or from a punching mechanic standpoint, if my power is in the rear, I can throw a much harder right hand because I have much more torque and much more rotation to throw that power. That's why your power is in the rear. That's why we do the 1-2 jab cross and you're turning the cross. You hear your coaches tell you to turn on your cross. It is because you're trying to drive that power that's in the back through your target.
Côté de Dawson qui va tenter de répondre aussi.
So your jab sets the stage for the power that comes.
Body, and that may be a very intelligent choice.
You're going to hear this phrase a lot if you haven't already heard it. Power comes from the ground up. Power comes from the ground up. So what does that mean? If I'm throwing my cross and I throw my right hand, just like this, I throw my right hand and I don't rotate my hips, well, now I don't have any power coming from the ground. So the reason why we tell you to turn, and that phrase, power comes from the ground up, the reason why we tell you to turn is because the power that's sitting at the bottom, the pad of my foot, needs to travel up my leg as I turn through my knee and my hips. And when my hip turns, rotates, that rotation then follows through my core, out my shoulders, my arms, and to the end of my fist. And on the end of my fist is hopefully my opponent, right? That's what this means when somebody tells you power comes from the ground up. I'm throwing my punch, my right hand, with the intent to drive my right leg and throwing the punch. Think about this from this perspective. And this is going to help a lot of people with them loading their shots. Your arms are vessels. These make contact with your target. These are what you use to make physical contact with your opponent, with the bag, with the air if you're shadow boxing, right? These just make contact, these touch. This is where your power and your speed and tempo, all that comes from this, your legs, right? Same thing if I throw my hook. If I want to throw my hook with more power, I'm going to throw it from my legs. So my vehicle, my jab, here, that's one. And granted, this jab, I'm sort of controlling it, but I'm still focused kind of on my lead leg, making sure especially that it's balanced. That I throw my jab, that's one vehicle. When I get ready to throw this cross, that the leg, right, drives the vessel out to the target. And that same leg drives the vessel back to its spot. So my right leg drives out the vessel, and the right leg reverses it back. What you don't want is this, where you start to turn your punch and then you throw, and then you also don't want starting to throw and then punching, right? And then bringing it back. You don't want this. It's not a 1-2 step. This, your leg drives your arm. My right leg drives drives the right arm out and then brings it back. That is a proper punch mechanic for the cross. The power comes from the ground up, means when I have the power sitting at the toe, I'm driving off the ground till the end of my punch makes contact with my target. I'm here, boom, and I'm back, okay? That's what that means. That's the proper punch mechanic on the cross, okay? This is the strategic aspect of the jab cross and why it's so fundamental, why it is powerful when you throw it, okay? And why it's important to not do some of the bad habits that a lot of you guys make, which I'll cover, next. Okay. So that's what's next. We've mastered the jab. What's after the jab? The jab cross. That is the number one most powerful punch combination that you're ever going to throw. It's the first one that you learn, right? Once you've mastered the jab, that is the next step in the progression. The jab cross.